Welcome to a brand new Tuesday episode of Let's Talk Broncos. Yesterday, we had a little bit of a recap for the game against the 49ers. The Broncos pulled it off. We're still in victory mode, though, and we'd like to grade the offense, the defense, and the special teams. Today, I'm Bri Maces here with Zach Seegers, Joey Richards. Guys, how are you?
I'm doing really good. I mean, I had a great birthday yesterday and the weekend of before. Of course, my two friends helped make that better here. So it was a lot of fun. I had a very fun time.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I'm doing well. This is like the chill part of my week. It's weird with football Sundays. Is my audio coming through?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Sorry about that. With football Sundays, like my weekend is Monday, Tuesday, so kind of enjoying that, wrapping up here, and yeah, just chilling, getting ready to talk more Broncos. 2-1.
You absolutely have a
AFC West leaders.
Take that. Suck it, Raiders. You have radio voice today. Did somebody tell you that today?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it sounds very good.
And
I should go off of 4 hours of sleep more often.
Oh God.
I also want to say this. I mean, I don't want to take credit for the 2-1 stuff, but I do think the Broncos were listening to our slanderous podcast last week, and
we said Hackett had to fix things, and he fixed things. Is that coincidental?
I mean, I don't think so. What are the odds?
What are the odds? Tell me the odds.
Tell me, who did he hire?
Yeah, right.
Jerry Rosberg.
Ooh.
J.R.
Oh, we solved it.
I'm the reason yet again.
It's a damn
shout out, really, dude. Shout out JR.
No,
Thank
seriously.
You. JR loved the content.
Hey, thanks, dude. I mean, I was there at that Broncos game. I mean, all the stuff Randy Gregory, Bradley Chubb, and them did. I mean, it was cool. But at the end of the day, I was there, and I think I had an impact on that. Hackett heard me when I was like, "Don't kick the field goal again." And
were you yelling from up there?
Yeah, section.
Your seats were incredible. They're just like head on to the rest.
Shout out to Kyle and them, man. Those seats were amazing, by the way.
Coach, tell him to do less penalties.
Yeah, exactly.
Reduce your penalties by 50%.
I saw Hackett. We made eye contact.
Shouts, he pointed. Yeah.
Honestly, it's great to hear you finally got a job in the organization.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Oh, my goodness. I know a guy. As we've already covered, again this week, we're riding that high of a Denver Broncos win. I think it was a little ugly too.
Yeah.
But it felt, I don't know, the last 2 weeks kind of felt like losses back to back. But, I'm riding the high of the win on Sunday because let me tell you, I'm hopped up on some, not even hopium. Like there is some. Yeah, great. Clip that one. Send it out there. I'm excited about what we saw on Sunday because I think there are some really high points to discuss. And we talked about on Monday about the things that we saw. And now we kind of want to give grades to those different groups on the field. We're going to go over the offense, defense, and special teams, like I already said. Let's start off here. So bad it's offensive, guys. You score 11 points. And I don't know how to tell you. Shout out to Andrew. The producer. Andrew Detmer, thank you so much for supplying us with that header because I think it's fantastic. But it's not far off. I think it was a little offensive. Zach, tell me.
I mean, it's gross. You're paying this guy $250 million, and through 12 quarters, the offensive production is worse than it was through the final 12 quarters of last year, which was like some of the most anemic football I can remember watching. Even during this stretch, and it's left a little by that last game against the Chiefs, but just absolutely ugly football.
Yeah.
41 points through 12 quarters. That's insane for how much the Broncos have invested on that side of the ball. You absolutely have to be getting better return there. I do think there's some reason for optimism, honestly. Like, I think you look at in the first 2 weeks, the offense was moving the ball. Generally speaking, the Texans game, there was a little stop and start. But through 2 weeks, moving the ball at a better rate than any other team in the NFL, just not finishing drives whatsoever. And then also being separated by penalties. You saw those first two problems solve themselves, but then you go up against the 49ers, who have one of the best defenses in the league.
Sure.
I thought they were going to have the NFL's best defense coming into the season. And they're not quite there. Tampa Bay looks a little better, but I'd be fine putting SF2. I'd be fine putting Tampa Bay, Denver, San Francisco. Put those three in any order you want, and I'll be fine with it. But I think that kind of explains some of the struggles this week. Like, it definitely has to be better, but I also think like I feel fairly optimistic and confident that it won't be this bad over the final 14 weeks. I think these 3 weeks will be looked at as like a slow start, a growing period, and things will shake out.
Yeah, I predicted well before the season that the Broncos offense was going to be slower started just because of everything being new, right? New all the way from owner, coaching, quarterback, everything brand new. And for how emotional I get about it in the moment, I have to put that back a little bit and be like, I did kind of expect this. So I don't know. I do think that the Broncos offense will get better. I don't think you're seeing their final product. Now, how much better is kind of the question, right? Are they going to be an elite offense? I mean, that's still yet to be seen. I'm not all the way confident in that, but I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were. I think they're going to be fine. And at the end of the day, I mean, we'll get to the defense later, but if you have a defense that performs like that, it's like, okay.
And in Rodgers' first, like the comparable examples are Rodgers, Brady, and Stafford. And you have Rodgers so bad his season in this, or his first season in this scheme, that they went out and drafted Jordan Love. I think they even traded up to draft Jordan Love, if I'm remembering correctly. So like they thought things were coming to an end there. And then, of course, things work out the next 2 seasons pretty well for him. And then Stafford and Brady weren't as extreme, but you saw them struggle for the first half of the season. If we get through the bye, if we're like a week or two after the bye and we're still like, yo, I'm concerned. Now, I will say this. I think Russell Wilson's play relies a lot on like his athleticism, and I think we're seeing a diminished version of that. So I think, it's safe to say I think we've seen the best version of Russell Wilson, and it's not going to happen in Denver. I think he can still be a very, very good quarterback, and you can win a lot of games with him, a lot better than what he's shown through 3 weeks. But I don't think he'll probably be worth what the Broncos paid him and be like a truly elite quarterback.
I mean, by the comparisons that you're making there, it just means that he's going to win a Super Bowl his first time with a new offense.
Those are extreme, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you saw those quarterbacks all struggle out the gate, and then they turned it on. I think there's so much weird random luck that happened. Like Joe Burrow and the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl over the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Like there's a lot of like kind of bounces in the moment and that's why we love the NFL playoffs. That's why it's the best postseason, or one of the best postseasons in sports. So yeah, I'm not going to say anything, but I do think you look at how this defense is playing. If the offense ever gets rolling, this is totally a team that could make a January run. I'm not confident they'll get there, but I believe the ceiling is there.
Nice callback with the ceiling reference. If you're interested in that, you can go watch some of our previous episodes, not naming a Raiders head coach. Really interesting there.
He's really showing off his ceiling right now.
Okay, can I?
No, I know. And that was a cheap shot. I just had to get it in because I knew I'd exhibit this response. Or listen,
I almost remember the play calling being a higher floor for Zach Seegers here. I don't know. The 0-3 coach. I said low floor. It's crazy. I don't know.
I'm just putting it out there, man.
Yeah,
both offenses were offensive, and it was very interesting to me. 10-11 final score is something else, but a 7-5 third quarter score is something completely unrelated. The gaps were incredible. It was an entertaining game, though. It's not like the game necessarily was the worst. No. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. Joey, you were there. Zach, obviously, in the press box. What was interesting? You are welcome, Broncos country. LTV in the house means wins, and you know what that means. Sponsors and football time.
Buy us tickets.
Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, the offense was terrible, but there was points to look forward to, and you guys both covered it very well. I think it can improve. What was just interesting to me is that it ramped up, and when it ramped up, it went crazy.
Yeah,
and I think that'll lead us to our next point on what's up.
Sorry, just on the offense. I think you saw good explosives in that game. And in the Texans game, like we've seen the flashes of what this offense could be. And unfortunately right now, a lot of it's been like Cortland Sutton carried the team. But like, I guess it wasn't in those drives in this one, but you saw it towards the end of the first half, and then at the end of the game too, the offense kind of came alive, and we saw more of the upside of that high variance Russell Wilson play. So I do think it's potentially there. I'll give him a solid D. Though. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, you gotta rate him.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give him a D as well. I think that's appropriate. Bri, what's your grade?
I'm going D.
Okay. Can I ask you guys a question real quick? And Bri, I guess I'll start off with you, but were a big Tim Patrick person, so I'm curious, like how much of a Tim Patrick loss are we feeling? How much of an impact would that have on this offense if he were healthy?
Well, you're seeing Cortland Sutton come in and impact the game at a high level. You got him at like 5th overall for yards in the NFL,
Right.
which I think you were hoping Jerry Jeudy would be there, and it's just not. Cortland Sutton and the chemistry that he has with Russell Wilson is something that's been being touted, and we're actually seeing it play out fairly well. They seem to have a really great connection that's doing wonders for that Denver Broncos offense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I think that there's a pitfall to relying solely on one receiver? But if he's the guy catching the ball and he's getting you the yards that you need, and it's leading to red zone production, what more could you ask for?
That's true. Yeah, Cortland's my son's really been balling out, right? Like he's been covering the gaps that they're at wide receiver. Zach, what is your answer to that question?
Yeah, I think Cortland Sutton's fantastic. I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just he's playing out of his mind. I do think you want to see Jeudy step up a little more. I'm trying to pull it up right now.
I miss Tim Patrick though.
Yeah,
I do.
The
I
Tim
think
Patrick
that solves a lot of things.
Yeah, just because he'd be the steady presence. I think Jeudy might be a little more boom or bust. It'd be great just to have that other thing, but I'm not totally out. I've seen some Broncos fans out on Jeudy. I know we discussed it on yesterday's show, but just like that drop, it wasn't a drop. And I don't know, had a terrific first game and then gets injured fairly early in the second game, and then is playing through a painful injury in week 3. Like, I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I want to see. I've seen more reasons for Jerry Jeudy optimism through this season than Jerry Jeudy pessimism.
Yeah, can I add on to that real quick? I just think that it's weird watching Jerry Jeudy because I know I'm not seeing the complete package yet. Like I see the flashes of like brilliance, but I'm also seeing the floors of okay, that's something we still need to work on. Like,
and he might be one of those players that, because they're not that rare in the NFL, that have awesome talent but don't have the other tools to put it all together on a consistent basis. I think consistency is a skill, and I don't think just because you have the flashes means you're going to put it together consistently.
I also think though that like, I don't know, I'm more patient with him just because I see the talent level. I just, you're seeing like, it's almost like I'm watching a player, like you see the stuff of high level stuff, like that first touchdown he had in that on the slot fade route in that first game. He showed like 6 awesome receiver traits in there. The ability to go up and fight through, catch the ball through contact and win that ball, right? You saw the route running, completely juke a guy out of his shoes. You saw the speed afterwards to pull away from the defense. There were like so many cool things to go with it. I'm not willing to give up and say that like Jerry Jeudy's not going to get further. I feel like I'm just seeing growing pains for a player that barely played in his sophomore year and is working with a brand new quarterback in his 3rd year.
Yeah, and I'm not giving up on him either. Yeah. I want to be clear there. It wouldn't surprise me, considering, I guess, the smoke around him, that like, if he doesn't become a consistent,
it's actual bias, right? So however you're coming at that point of Jerry Jeudy, you're going to have to like adapt, I guess, what the expectation of the player is. So if you came in low on Jerry, you're kind of looking at this like, oh, well, I got to knock you down a little bit, instead of being like, no, I believe in it. So it's just interesting to me because I'm not out. And I was a big detractor.
Even if you were a huge believer in Jerry Jeudy, your expectations could be too high. Like that could be something. Jerry Judy's not a bust if he's a really high end wide receiver too, if that's what he ends up coming to. Sure. If like there's, and I don't see why he can't work to that. I thought I'd throw that question out there for you guys. But anyways, we could carry on.
It's a great question. Yeah.
No, I think he's a good number 2. Sorry, I missed. I never gave you a solid answer.
You're good. You're good.
He could be a really, really great number 2. I'm sorry, Joey.
It's okay. The question, initially was, how do you feel about not having Tim Patrick? And I think that is being felt across
Totally.
the Broncos offense. Now, do I think it would save and fix every issue that's out there? No, because a lot of it's on game management in general, which is not on the wide receiver. But it would be nice to have him back and see just how much of a difference maker he would be. I want to hop on over to the other side of the ball in the Denver Broncos defense, because I think that is the amount of optimism I have for this Denver Broncos team. We knew we were talented. We knew they were skilled, and we knew that they were going to do everything and anything to win this game. They had quite the production there. You got 4 sacks. You have 2 turnovers. You get an interception. The accolades are racking up for this defense in Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb, Patrick Surtain holding receivers to very minimal yards.
0.
In fact, let's gush about the
He's
defense
different.
because that's literally the least you can do.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I think Surtain remarkable. The whole defense remarkable. Like if we're talking grades, it's an A+ for me. I'm mad that there's 10 points on the scoreboard because that was one of the most amazing defensive performances I've ever seen.
I know.
Like the second drive, admittedly, a lapse. They were cut through like it was nothing. The 49ers went on a 6-play, 75-yard drive. It was a bad defense. They played 13 drives of unbelievable defensive football. And you normally don't see that in a whole week because the defense isn't on the field for 13 drives. But it was like the Broncos would get the ball and go 3 and out and punt it to the 49ers. And the 49ers would get like a first down and come back and then punt it back to the Broncos. It was, and credit to the 49ers too. They played terrific defense too. But the Broncos were forcing turnovers. They were forcing fumbles. They got the defensive points, of course, with like the safety that was almost a pick 6. Like just A+. I struggle to think of what more I would have wanted from a defense. I could cherry or nitpick that one drive, but like at my school, I think my high school was like a 97% was an A+. I think they got a 97%.
I love it. Joey, how do you feel about the defense?
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, you have to give them an A+ for that one. I feel like you have to. They balled out. Like at the end of the day, they had some injuries out there, right? Like they were down to Jeff Wilson at running back and some different things like that. Trent Williams went down in the game, best left tackle in the league. Certain things happen, but at the end of the day, you're still playing one of the best play caller and offensive minds in the league with, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not the best ever, but still, I think he can
has
operate.
Executed that system at a very high level the last few years.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. He brought, I mean, he was in the Super Bowl with that team and with Kyle Shanahan. With Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, they still have weapons over there that make that team dangerous. I think the 49ers are going to end up being a good football team when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And man, the Broncos defense destroyed them. Like they really did their job. I want to give a shout out to some certain players here that I think are flying.
Can I have one just team note really quick before you go into the individual players? On the field goal drive, Broncos only allowed 8 yards on that drive.
Right.
That's a result of bad field position. The final, 9 drives of the game, they allow 6 yards, 5 yards, 7 yards, -2, 10, 8, 31, 23, and 4. Lockdown defense. Joey, knock it out.
Yeah. So like some of those guys I want to just give shout outs to just because I feel like they're flying a little under the radar after that game. One, Ronald Darby from week 1 to week 3 now. Absolute shutdown corner. And I don't like people. Surtain's getting all the credit, rightfully so. He is a awesome player. And I probably think at this point the best pound for pound player on the team when I watch him play. But Darby has been unbelievable. He has been one of the better players on this team. And I think it's just, you have bias towards players drafted on the Broncos. Ronald Darby was signed here. He's not getting his due credit. He's been amazing. I want to give a shout out to Mike Purcell across that defensive line, who definitely had his best game of the year. Not even close.
And they need a guy like that to show up.
They do, especially
looking for a third D lineman.
They are, and especially against a Kyle Shanahan run creativity offense. Offense that was averaging, I think, the most rushing yards in the league between their first 2 games. He showed up in a big way. He got held a couple times that weren't called. He was awesome. Mike Purcell, big shout out to him.
5 tackles, tied for 3rd on the team. So he was all in the run game. And
Zach,
his role, and of course,
safety.
running Jimmy Garoppolo out the back of the end zone. You needed those 2 points to win the game with how close it was. And yet, like, his stuff generally doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but just a remarkable game. If you can get that from him consistently, you feel a lot better about the defensive line depth.
Oh my gosh, he was
with DJ Jones in concussion protocol.
He was awesome. Kareem Jackson probably had a really, really great game. PJ Locke, friend of the
safeties.
podcast.
Caden Stearns.
PJ Locke, friend of the podcast. Huge fumble to seal the game. Wins it for the Broncos. You love it. I mean, I could go on and on. Josie Jewell, first game back in a while. But he's the best Broncos.
Randy Gregory had his most pressures in a game in orange and blue.
I was about to get into Randy Gregory here.
I'm sorry. There's so many. I'm so sorry.
It's really shout out to the whole defense. I'm just throwing some names out there.
That's the point. Okay, that is the absolute point we're trying to make here on Let's Talk Broncos, and I want you to hit your Randy Gregory
let's keep listing
stuff
them.
for sure. Let's keep listing them. Go with Randy Gregory, and we'll hit another one because I know that's coming up next.
Totally. I want to Randy Gregory. It felt like this entire offseason was like everyone was equating it. I think partially, and I want to say this.
He's getting riled up.
We lost Von Miller, and I agree. Like, he's on Instagram talking about he wants to come back. It doesn't make it any easier for me. He's like one of my favorite players ever. I root for him no matter what team he is. I was rooting for the Rams last year. I didn't care about the 2nd round pick that we got. I wanted the Rams to win it because I wanted Von to get his 2nd Super Bowl ring. But you have to cut that out from the Randy Gregory decision. You have to. It's not fair to equate the two. You could have preferred Von Miller, but you don't have to trash Randy Gregory in the process.
There was so much slander,
and there was, and there was a lot, man. And it just, I don't know. I always, when I watched the film, I saw a player. I understood the concerns with the health and not playing, and it's still a concern. We're only 3 games in. I don't want to take that completely out of the conversation, but people were just completely ignoring the player. And this is it's not like he just took wild steps in improvement this year. No, he was this good last year. He was, and it just felt ignored. There's a reason the Cowboys offered him the same contract to retain him. We want him back on the same deal. Randy Gregory is a monster, and I'm happy he's part of the Broncos. Everyone talks about how great he is in the locker room. I've talked to Zach about this plenty of times.
My favorite locker room personality.
Yes, Randy Gregory is awesome in the locker room. He has a great story.
You could see him out on the field, absolutely loving it, and that translates to his play.
There's something to be said about that. The people that go out there and be enthusiastic, they're going to shit talk the other team. They're going to be the attitude of the team. Randy Gregory has completely brought that. He has 15 pressures on the year. What else could the Broncos ask for?
Can I play a fun little trivia game with you, Joey? Bri, I know you hate trivia. You don't have to participate. Okay. I'm going to read off some stat lines. These are the stat lines of, in no particular order, the Bosas, Micah Parsons, and Randy Gregory. You tell me which one is Randy Gregory. All right. 14 total pressures, 2 sacks, and a 26% pass rush win rate. 13 pressures, 4 sacks, 25.4% pass rush win rate. 10 pressures, 2 sacks, 25.3%. My point being, I should have made a graphic or something. Sorry, Joey.
I can't remember.
But the point being,
numbers.
You're looking at 14 pressures, 13 pressures, 10 pressures, 16, 2 sacks, 4 sacks, 2 sacks, 4 sacks, and then pass rush win rates between 25% and 26%.
16
and we're looking at Randy Gregory, Micah Parsons, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa. He blends right in with those 4 is the point. And you're talking about, if I were to label who are the 4 elite pass rushers in the NFL right now, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa. And then if you want to throw Joey Bosa in there as 5, feel free. They're like, he's an elite company. He's putting up defensive player of the year numbers right now.
Yeah, he's oh my God. Randy Gregory is so far became one of my favorite players on the team. I just love his attitude. I love everything he brings. He's a freak of nature.
And Chubb's been great too.
He has been great. But Randy can win in so many different ways. He can win with his length and power. He's guys like 6'5", longest arms ever. Win that way. He's also athletic. He can bend the corner, win with rips, swims, everything that you want, spins. He's great in stunts. There's not a lot Randy Gregory can't do from a physical standpoint. And I've just been happy and excited to see the fans kind of turn on how they were feeling at first and be like, oh, this Randy Gregory guy, I can get behind it. You know what I mean? It's been a cool process to see. There's not a player on the Broncos I root for more than Randy Gregory with his whole story and everything.
There's
like that.
room on the bandwagon. Jump on. It's time to go. It's early in the season. Buy in now. Get your seats. Zach, what were you going to say?
Last one, just if Joey's reasoned argument didn't convince you that you should be loving on some Randy Gregory, look at the Cowboys beat writers, Marcus Mosher,
all of them,
however you want to pronounce it, or however you're supposed to pronounce it. One of the best Cowboys beat writers out there tweeted out today about how great Randy Gregory has been, saying he has been everything the Denver Broncos could have wanted him to be so far. Like the Cowboys are the Squidward meme looking through the glass at SpongeBob and Patrick having fun down below.
And there wasn't any Cowboys people that weren't upset about Randy not staying or leaving.
Yeah.
Like there was not one person I saw that was like, oh, he's not worth that. All of them were like, we want Randy back on the Cowboys. And it just so happened
and they got mad at the Joneses for what they did. And you see why now. I compared him to Parsons a second ago. More pressures than Parsons so far this season. Higher pass rush win rate so far.
Yeah, and I think we had friend of the show, Shane Carter, on to talk about Randy Gregory. You can catch that previous episode on YouTube. All you got to do is search.
Evergreen content.
It's always applicable. That's what we do here at Let's Talk Broncos. Guys, I literally could spend an entire episode talking about the defense. They've just been that impressive. It's just that fun to talk about them. I'm back in.
Surtain, Jewel, Griffith, all of them.
Griffith got the game ball. I think the entire defense gets the game ball from the LTB crew.
Yeah, when I heard Griffith got the game ball, and he made that awesome play at the end. Like we didn't even mention him, and he made the game sealing play. There's so many defensive guys on the roster where I'd be like, damn, really? Like, not me too, because everyone was so elite.
Yeah, I think everyone deserves for that performance. Don't have much to complain about there. We've already done the offense, but I think we're going to hop on over to special teams soaring past the Niners.
Yeah.
What a fantastic way to put it, because any improvement over the previous regime in Tom McMahon seems to be the best improvement. And I think I'm still stuck in comparing that what used to be and how bad it was is it's going in the absolute correct direction.
Yeah.
We know we had a couple snafus. There's obviously some growing pains there, but what Dwayne Stukes is doing with that unit is pretty impressive. Joey, what are you seeing out of special teams?
I want to give out a shout out to a guy I was a little critical of on defense, but more on special teams. Made the first two punt coverage plays that were both really good plays, tackled him. Well between, I think, it was a kick return too somewhere in there. But Alex Singleton was all over the place on special teams. Guy was awesome. I like him on special teams. If you just want a guy that's going to go run and hit, a lot of the time that's going to be linebackers, and Alex Singleton fits that role perfectly. So shout out to him. I thought the punt team was a lot better. We had to punt, what was it, 11 times? 10 times. 10 times, ridiculous. There were some stats about that where it was no team has punted 10 times and won the game since here.
I think it was the last time it happened was the Broncos.
Oh, well, damn,
So Corliss Waitman got all the practice with his punting.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic because it actually let him build up some consistency. I was celebrating a freaking punt out there in my seat because it was that good. I think it was that celebratory. That is a significant upgrade from last season.
Totally. And when you control field position, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. Put your offense in better position, defense in better position, all of that. So shout out to the special teams. My one criticism is just a miss kick. But it happens is when you're on special teams as much as the Broncos are that day, something's bound to go wrong. So
for real, man.
But for overall, really good game. Better than the last two. I want to ask you, you mentioned Tom McMahon. Does anyone here know how the Raiders special teams has been? I'm curious and I don't know. If not, we don't know.
I actually don't know.
Zach, do you know?
Give me. Oh, I was about to click over to the tab that had the information and I accidentally closed it. Give me 1 second and I'll pull it up.
Should we just sit here in silence?
No. Okay, well, I've got a tidbit. I've got a tidbit to deliver while I'm looking it up. Corliss Waitman, no longer the worst punter in football, has climbed a few more spots.
I want to know the worst one.
Jake Bailey of Bri's New England Patriots at 32.1.
I'm actually not a Patriots fan right now. I'm a Buccaneers fan.
Fair weather. Corliss Waitman, though, and some of this is definitely because he's punted a lot. But actually, looking at how much everyone else has punted, it lines up. Second in the NFL in inside the 20 punts.
Are you
Getting it
saying this
inside the
is-
20 on 50% of his punts, 8 out of 16 times. That is tied for third most inside the 20 punts in the NFL.
There you go.
Matt Hack is killing it. He's got that production off of only 12 punts. Pat O'Donnell has 9 off of only 13. But otherwise, he's performing like in terms of hitting them back deep is doing pretty well. I had to vamp.
The stuff everyone
It's
was looking for.
it's a punty-
Punter stats with Zach. That's the
Wow,
new daily
that's
segment.
the new segment. I don't want it.
Ah,
The
no one
league's
wants
very punty, though. I was just looking at your data, and there's a lot of punts happening. So I don't feel so bad. 10's still a lot.
Yeah.
There's too many 3 and outs.
There was.
I was getting
Last
scared. I don't think that was exactly how that was supposed to go.
In terms of special teams DVOA, which take it for what it's worth, the Raiders have the 11th best special teams.
Shout out Tom McMahon. I always knew
The
he was
Broncos-
good, man.
The Broncos have the league's 25th best special teams.
So why do we fire Tom? I'm just kidding.
You are teetering on almost saying the no word. I don't like it. Damn.
I will say, I know we're already done with defense. The way Ejiro Evero has conjured up this Broncos pass rush is so impressive. Something Fangio just couldn't do last year.
That was so unnecessary. that was insane.
Welcome to my fucking club.
yeah. Zach and we're back. He slanders punters, fullbacks.
I'm just trying to put some bait out there for you so you defend Vic Fangio.
What's next? The running back coach?
I guess, yeah. What are you going to go after next? The mascot?
Yeah.
Tag?
It's
You got a
crazy.
problem?
I'm going
Miles?
against the former head coach. That's not like
Olivia
some
Miles.
niche. That's not some Vic Fangio isn't some niche thing to complain about.
Listen, Zach, you're living in the
The
past. Bri and I.
groundskeeper from 2000.
You know I'm just trying to fucking bait Joey.
I was trying to too, and then I thought it would be funny to turn it around on you. Oh, guys, what?
Turco, fair weather. Go back to 2 minutes ago when I called you fair weather.
That's fine. You can call me whatever you want. I love greatness. That's what I do. You guys, it's time. It's that time of the night. It's Joey's question of the day.
1 second. Let me pull it off. My phone.
Joey's question of the day, brought to you by Tom McMahon.
Okay, guys. I have a question for you. And I think it's a softball.
Yeah,
I want.
This is gonna be the worst one. Yeah,
I want Zach to try the answer first, and then we're gonna go to Bri.
All right.
Who was the Broncos' leading punt returner in 1968?
Billy
5.
Thompson.
Okay, Bri, what's your
That's
answer?
a good callback. 1968?
Yeah, 1968.
Floyd Little.
Correct.
No.
Oh!
The Billy Thompson thing.
It was good. It
made
was
me
good.
snort.
No, I wasn't even trying to make a joke. I thought that was a decent guess. He played in that
wasn't
era.
it wasn't
He
a
could
bad
have been a
guess.
returner.
Floyd Little, 1968.
Floyd Little. Good. Yeah. Bri. Man,
You can't see my karate chops towards the screen because I'm down here. But
she
Yeah,
might
there
not
you go.
have the overall leaderboard, but she just got the most difficult one.
oh my God.
Joey came up with that question as a fuck you to us, and
Bri
Bri
got it.
just hit the Steph
Smacked it
Curry
home
like
ball.
heat check from half court. I love it.
So I was like, era? I don't know. Fuck it. Floyd Little.
I love that. Was amazing.
Usually I don't even
What
like
a
to
great
play
note to
this
end
game.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's been a fantastic episode. We'll see you again on Wednesday. Yes.
Bri, I want to give a big shout out to you here on the
Yes.
podcast real quick because we give a lot of shit to Bri on the podcast. We do, but I need the people at home to realize that the cog that like the person that makes this all work, Bri plays her role better than anybody. And I really want to say this. If I could pick a host, and I don't care about the big names, I really don't. You could give me any single person, any big name. I don't care who the hell you're talking about. I would take Bri in a heartbeat. She would be my number one selection if we had a draft of co-host here on this podcast. And I just thought I'd throw that out there.
You're making me cry live on the pod. That's fucked up.
It's true though, and I'm literally not joking. Like,
Thank you.
I would not lie about that. It's not just because you're my friend, but it's because you're actually that good. And I just thought I'd say that.
Oh.
No, Bri's a superstar. I can't believe how far she's come in such little time. Like it's unprecedented in the industry to go from like literally less than a year ago. She had
was afraid of the outside.
Done nothing in media, would tell me like is scared to tweet out things about the Broncos, and now you have your own weekly radio show, and that is something that doesn't happen unless you're remarkably talented. All the credit in the world to you. I love you to death. You're an even better friend than you are host, and you're really, really talented host. You are Let's Talk Broncos.
Yeah.
This was not Let's Talk Broncos without you. This
One
became
last
Let's
thing.
Talk Broncos. No, sorry. This became Let's Talk Broncos with you. And if anyone wants to know, to what Joey's saying, she made the show. She's such a valuable cog in the show. She's the straw that stirs the drink. Go back and listen to What's on Draft, and you will.
That's what I was about to say. Zach and I had a podcast on our own.
Go
I
listen
don't know
to
if you've
it.
Heard of it?
Or actually, don't. Ideally, don't. But go listen to it, and you'll immediately gain a deep fondness for Bri.
It's not even my birthday, guys. It's not
It's
even
Joey's
Christmas.
birthday.
It's Joey's birthday week. We're in here celebrating. I am embarrassed and blushing, and I don't know what to say other than thanks for letting us talk Broncos with all of you. And I wouldn't want to do it with another team anywhere else. So thank you guys. Have a good night, and I'll probably be crying, so I gotta go. Let's go Broncos.
Let's go Broncos.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.